Well guys, it's a Monday evening. Been weed eating. I'm not cleaned up. Tractor's not cleaned up. I know normally I clean it up for YouTube, but this evening I thought I'd just kind of do a real day in the life video. We've got this little tractor out. We've got the rotiller still on it. We're going to go down to Mama's and we're going to work up that garden that we plowed down there this evening. But while I've got this tractor out, I thought I'd take the time to kind of tell you a little bit about this tractor specifically, and teach you kind of some things about the 600 and 800 series Fords and why I like them and why I feel like they're the perfect starter tractor for anybody. So maybe you've bought some property and you're looking for a little tractor to kind of help take care of it, but you don't want to spend just an immense amount of money. Maybe you're a young guy or a young girl and you're wanting to buy your first tractor, maybe for antique tractor shows or tractor parades or anything like that. So I'm going to try to kind of walk you through this little tractor, and I'm going to tell you some things I like about it and some things I don't like about it. I'm just going to be real with you, so this is just going to be an honest review of 600 and 800 series Fords. Now, Little Red here, I'll kind of tell you how we come across it and how it's part of my family. My grandpa did not buy this tractor new. I know many of you guys, your grandparents bought tractors new. My grandpa did not buy this one new. My grandpa bought it, but he did not buy it new. My grandpa actually had a 2000 gas tractor back in the 80s, and there was a tornado that came through, and the way that the tractor was in the barn was picked up by the tornado and scooted, and the tractor just kind of got flipped inside of it. So it kind of hurt that tractor pretty bad. It wasn't that old at the time, but anyways, my grandpa kind of fixed it, and then he ended up finding this one. This tractor was bought in the mid-80s from a guy named David Green, if you've ever heard of Green's Trailer and Equipment. This was back whenever Dave was first getting started. My grandpa found this one that he had found, and he bought it. By the late 80s, early 90s, my grandpa had quit farming, and he had just kept it to tend to his garden, and he had a little 501 Ford sickle mower that I have now, and that's all he done with it. Well, when I was about 13 or so, I had really got into tractors, and Dad didn't have one, and I didn't have one personally. And my grandpa pretty much just told us a price, and he said, why don't you just pay this so you all can just take it home, so that way nobody couldn't get their feelings hurt or anything like that. So Paul just told us a price, and he said, just take it home. So I've had this tractor here at my place since I was probably 13. I'm 26 now. So this tractor has been with me pretty much half my life. So it's been a really, really good tractor. I have really no complaints with it for what it does for me. So an obvious difference looking between the 600s and the 800s. The 600s have a smaller rear end housing. And I don't think they ever made an older 800 series. I think all the 800 series were Power Masters. If I'm wrong, you all are more than welcome to correct me down in the comments below. But an easy way to tell a 600 from an 800 is when you look at the grill, a 600 just has just the bars like this, and an 800 grill, it has like rectangles cut out in it. It's a big bulky grill, but that's an easy way to tell a difference between a 600 and an 800. Now there was really two main type of transmissions that came in these tractors. You either had a 4-speed or you had a 5-speed. Now those 4 and 5 speeds could come in different combinations. I'm not sure if the 600s ever came with the Sherman. I believe I've seen like an early 600 with a Sherman, so I'm sure that maybe someone could retrofit one. But what the Sherman was, the Sherman took this 4-speed and it actually geared it down into 3 ranges. So it never gave you like a live PTO or anything, but it did give you 12 speeds forward and 4 reverse. Or 3 reverse, my bad. Another thing that a lot of people don't know is over here is actually how you identify these tractors, and I'll see if I can zoom in. This tractor is a 641. Now I know what you may be saying, the badge says 601, and some of the later ones were labeled what they actually were, but some of the early 01 series were just the number. So what this numbers mean, if it says it's a 6, that means it's a 600. If that said it was an 8, it would be an 800 series tractor. Now this 4 right here indicates that it is a 4-speed transmission. All right, if it was a 651, it would be a 5-speed, but it would not have a 2-stage clutch. If it was a 661, that means it would have a 5-speed with 2-stage clutch. And if it was a 671, it would be a Selecto speed. If it was a 681, I believe it would be a Selecto Speed with 2-speed PTO. That's how you tell these tractors based off, you know, you can sometimes look at them, but that's how you really get the true numbers on the tractor. Another way you can tell whether or not the tractor has a 2-stage clutch is you can actually look at the clutch pedal itself. Now this tractor does not have a 2-stage clutch, so when you mash it down, it is what it is. And even the 850 ones, they still have a clutch pedal like this too. But if it's an 861 where it actually has the 2-stage, the pedal will almost sometimes be plumb up to here. And I'll go ahead and put in a picture of what an 861 clutch pedal looks like with the 2-stage. These tractors are also fairly easy to put a hydraulic remote on. I won't really want to on this tractor if I ever got a hydraulic fold tedder. But as far as I know, this just unbolts off right here, this cap, and your hydraulic remote sets down on top of that. So that is one nice thing about these little tractors. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Selecto Speed, Ford actually came out with a transmission that was a 10-speed forward, 2-speed reverse, and it was a full-blown power shift. Like the clutch wasn't even a clutch, it was just called an engine pedal, and it would just allow you to barely back up, pull forward to adjust implements, things like that. But the Selecto Speed, you could shift on the fly and never even have to touch any other pedal, just touch the shifter. They got a really, really bad rap because the testing wasn't done correctly on them. Actually, the guy, if I'm not mistaken, the guy who created the Selecto Speed got mad at Ford, left them because they sent it out too early, and went to John Deere and created the power shift that's like in the 3020s and 4020s, which we know, if you know anything about tractors, those transmissions are bulletproof. Now, the problem with the 4-speed is that you just didn't have the option for the 2-stage clutch, and that can be like a bother or an aggravation to some people. For light-duty jobs like small bush hogging, garden work, it's not really that big a struggle. But like square baling hay, this would be a nightmare, especially if you got into thick hay. Another disadvantage that I have with the 4-speed is the 4-speed is very high. The first gear is, like when you're plowing in first gear, it moves along pretty good. Now, some of the problems with the 5-speed are the stack gears. They have these little things over here on the right side. They look like bullets, and I think they're called shift pins or something another. But if those shift pins get wore, okay, it will pop out of 3rd gear if a load's not on it. So if you're in like 3rd or 5th gear and you're going downhill and there's not a load, it can pop out. So be mindful of that. These tractors do have dry brakes on both the 600 and the 800, and they do have live hydraulics. Okay, so no matter if you've got the clutch mashed in, no matter what, your hydraulics are going to work because they run off the engine. Now, a definite upgrade that I would do to these tractors before I ever even thought about using one, I would go ahead and 12-volt convert them. It's a super easy kit. They sell it online. It's basically a plug-and-play wiring harness. You'll thank me later when you put a 12-volt on one of these little tractors. I guess also what one of the biggest obvious differences between the 601s and the 801s is the color. The 601 is mainly red. It does have the white fenders, but on an 801, the hood is like half red, half tan, or half cream, whatever you want to call that Ford color. So that's a really big obvious difference on them too. Now these tractors did have some pretty nice add-ons that came with them. The pie weights are extremely sought after. If you know anybody that has a full set of pie weights, and they're called pie weights because they look like a pie, I'll go ahead and show you. If you know somebody that's got a set of pie weights on a junked Ford like this, you need to go ahead and buy them from them. Even if you don't have a tractor just yet, go ahead and buy them because they'll be super nice to have whenever you actually find a 600 or 800 Ford. They also sold some inside wheel weights that would mount on the inside of this wheel. I'd say that they're probably, I don't know, maybe 100 extra pounds or so. But these little tractors are very basic. There's not really anything to them. They're super easy to mechanic on, but they just have advantages and disadvantages like anything does. If I ever find another one of these tractors, I'm probably going to try to find an 861. And what the 861 is, it's the bigger rear end. It's the 5-speed 2-stage clutch, and I really want to find one with power steering. Also, these tractors, the 601s had the 144 cubic inch engine, and the 801s had the 172. Both came in gas or diesel. Now, I can't forget the 900 series either. The only reason that I'm kind of focusing on the 600 and the 800 series is because that's what's really common to East Tennessee where I live. The 900 series really never made it around here. Now, the 900 series are really cool. They are just like these tractors, same hood, but the rear ends actually have a drop down on them, like a bull gear or a final drive. And then the front actually has a higher axle. It's more like a row crop version of this tractor. They also had a 5 series too, which was, I think, maybe only like a 541, 5 with the 4-speed transmission, but it was an offset tractor. It was set up just like a Super A or like a Cub. You don't really see many of those, but they're really neat. And I'll go ahead and I'll throw in some pictures of some 9 series, and I'll throw in a picture of a 5 series too right here, just to show you all what they look like. Now, I can't really tell you what these tractors are bringing all over the country because I really don't know. I can only tell you what they're bringing in East Tennessee, Virginia, North Carolina, places like that. You can find a nice 600 and even some nice 800s between the $3,000 to $4,000 range. If you're looking to buy a nicer one of these, you just better be getting ready to pay at least that much. Now, you can find them cheaper than that, but the sad reality is they're in pretty rough shape. Most of the time, whenever you find one for $3,000 or $4,000, it's normally being used. Chances are, like, someone's dad has passed away, someone's grandpa's passed away, and it's just in the barn and they're wanting rid of it. I seen the other day, just on my local yard sale on Facebook, someone had an early model 600 that I think they wanted like $3,200 for it, and it had brand new rubber on it, 4-speed. I mean, it's just like mine, but it was a 600 instead of a 601. So that's kind of what you're really looking to pay for something like this. Now, the tractor that I just described earlier in the video, like an 861 with power steering diesel, that's going to be your top ticket item. That's going to be the $7,000, $8,000 tractor, especially if it's in really, really good shape. That is the tractor that people really want. Whenever they have these 601s and 801s, they always want the 861. And like I said, my dream is to have one, power steering, pile weights, diesel, whole 9 yards. So that's on the bucket list for one of these days. But if you're someone who's just bought like 5, maybe 15, 25 acres, and you're just looking for a little tractor to help bush hog, keep things clean, I highly suggest these little tractors. They're really awesome, they're simple to work on, and the parts are pretty reasonable. Now, the only downfall that I have with this little tractor is I probably wouldn't take it on hillsides. And when I mean hillsides, I'm not talking like rolling hillsides, I'm talking like something steep. So be mindful of that as you go to buy your next piece of equipment. If you have land that's that steep, these are not for that. Okay, there's been a lot of people that's done that and got away with it, but there's also been a lot of people that's got killed on little tractors like this. But you all may be in the market for one of these little tractors, and if you are, I really hope this video helped you. I really hope it helps you identify if you're going to look at one and maybe the decals are gone. I hope that little plate over there can help you identify what your tractor really is. So anyways, yeah, let's go down here and let's fire up this rotiller and see if we can get this garden worked up. I guarantee that I'll have to work it up just a little bit tonight, and then I'll have to work it up some more at a later date because there's a lot of grass in it. Needless to say, I turned over sod, and it's been about probably 3 or 4 weeks since I've plowed. So the grass is pretty high, so we'll see if we can go down and try to work some of it up and break it up. But anyways, thanks for watching. And one thing I really do like about these tractors is they have to be in neutral before this little starter button will work. So that's a really neat thing about them. So I don't know if you guys are like me or not, but I weed eat way too much. But I also can't stand it looking like it's grown up either, so it's kind of a, I don't know, double-edged sword. Me and some guys were talking this evening. We complain about having work to do, but the majority of the work we have to do, we put it on ourselves. So, but ain't that life? Okay, so here's what we've got to work with. I'll probably set y'all up on a tripod. It'll be really hard this first go where this tractor doesn't have power steering. It's probably going to want to whoop the wheel everywhere. So let me see if I can get a couple passes going and see if I can get it worked up some, and then I'll set you up on a tripod and maybe hold you when we're finishing up. Now this garden and this sod like this is probably really pushing that little tractor and tiller to the max. Now of course if it was a bigger tractor or a bigger tiller it may go by a little easier, but this is right on the borderline of having to be disc first. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to make just a couple more passes over it, and I'm going to let it set for maybe a week or two and let some of this grass kind of just die out, get a nice crust on top of it, and then go back through and till it up one more time before we plant it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, they're not bad little tractors. They have their uses. They're definitely still handy even though they're 60 years old. Thank you guys. Hope y'all have a blessed day. Oh yeah, to finish up this video, I want to give a couple shout outs. Number one, I want to thank all the kids at school that like to watch me. I have them come up to me all the time. They're like, Mr. Lamb, we heard you had a YouTube channel. And so, like I said, I want to thank all you kids that watch me. Another shout out I want to give to a boy named Patrick. I ended up running into Patrick this weekend. Me and him's really distant, long cousins, but he said he loves watching my channel. So Patrick, I'm going to give you a big shout out too, brother, all right?